Hey guys, it's the Infinity Breaker, bringing you guys a brand new Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. Today's deck profile is going to be on Nirvana. Nirvana is one of my favorite decks in OverDress, and I've been meaning to make this video for so long, but it's finally here. We actually have the new Nirvana Jiva coming out in just a couple of weeks, so I really wanted to make this video for you guys. Let's just get right on in. We have our Team Blackout sleeves to represent, so let's go. I'm going to start off with my ride deck, just to, it's the ride deck. So I'm starting off with my starter, which is Sunrise Egg. For the longest time, I was actually playing Trickstar as my starter, because, with the whole thing, you could guarantee 2 Trickstars out of the deck by using it as the starter, but I wanted to change it up with the, last couple of weeks I'm going to be playing this deck. And, that extra draw really does come in handy. But, yeah. So, Sunrise Egg. Then, of course, we got Blaze Maiden Reno. She's the one that actually searches Trickstar for us. Then, Rayu. Rayu is the one that Soul Blasts and adds the original Virina to our hand. And then, Nirvana. Thing about Nirvana is we actually don't really stay on it that much anymore. He's still an amazing card. If you don't get your grade 4, you can always, use his skill to counterblast and give your front row 10k, himself and any other units with Overdress. And then, of course, he gets you Trickstar from your drop zone. So, yep, just the OG ride line. Yeah, I was running Trickstar for the longest time as my starter, but I decided to finally change it out. Right, starting off with my grade 4s. Of course, I'm running 4 of my Mahar Nirvana. This card is insane, just because of all the stuff, you can do with it now. I think this deck's actually been topping in Japan, the last couple months. So Mahar Nirvana's ability is continuous. If you have a unit in the Overdress state, your front row gains 10k, which is awesome. It makes up for the lack of Persona Ride. And then, of course, he has the ability where once per turn, you can counterblast one, send a card with Nirvana from your hand or soul to the drop zone, and call a grade 0 from your drop zone. Obviously, you're going to be calling Trickstar. And then if you do this, your opponent takes a damage, if, they're at 4 or less damage. So that's nice. It's an amazing card. I can tell why it's topping. It gives you the 10k. It gets you your Trickstar. You do need to rely on having other Nirvanas in your hand to get the Trickstar, but most of the time, I think you're going to be finishing your opponent off pretty soon. So for this guy, is absolutely amazing. I'm very excited to see how Jiva competes when it comes to being the new Nirvana. So yeah. My next grade 4 is 4 copies of Virina Esperaridia. This card is amazing, and people are finally waking up and seeing how amazing this card is, which makes me so happy. So Esperaridia's effect is you overdress it over Trickstar, of course. And then when you do, you move all your original dress units. So every card with Overdress and Trickstar in your drop zone to its original dress. So that's really cool. You can make a pretty beefy stack with this guy, but that's not the best part. So his ability is, once per turn, when your Vanguard attacks, you Soul Blast one, restand this unit. And when it restands, it gains 5k for each unit in its original dress. That's great. But the thing is, you do not need to be in Overdress to use this. So, you can just call this guy to the field and use its effect. It won't gain the 5k because it has no original dress, but it's a multi-attacker, which is amazing. I used to only run 2 of this, and I think most people only ran 2. But now that we're oh, this card's amazing, especially in matchups against Prison. When you send a card to the Prison, you send Esperaridia, and then you call it from the Prison because Prison doesn't restrict calling. Your Vanguard's grade 1, and you call Esperaridia as a grade 4 and just start multi-attacking with it. So, yeah, it's an amazing card. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be, put to 1 at some point, but it's still at 4, and it's great. It's one of my favorite Virinas. And then, moving on to the only grade 3 I run, I'm running 2 Virina Expecta. So, the reason why I run 2 Expecta is because Expecta's overdress condition is to just be overdressed over a unit in overdress. So you overdress it over Esperaridia, because when Esperaridia is overdressed, you gain all that original dress. and you just overdress the Expecta over it, and Expecta's ability is it gains all of the original power of its original dress, so you just have like this huge stack, and that's on both players' turns. So it's a big finisher. You swing with Expecta, being like a bajillion power, and then you can counterblast 1/2 to give it an extra crit and 15k more power. And then it sends all the original dress back to the drop zone, so you can do it again next turn. But yeah, that's why I run him. A lot of people don't run him anymore. I still run him because it's an alternate win condition just to get like a really big attack on the field. I still think Expecta's cool. So yeah, just 2 Expecta. Alright, moving on to my grade 2s. We're running 4 copies of the best card, my favorite Virina Arcs. So, Virina Arcs is just... he's amazing. He's the Pot of Greed with wings. 1 overdress, you counterblast 1, draw 2, and it gains 5k for the rest of the turn. It's just, you want to open with this card. The draw 2 is so good. He's just so generic, and I love him. Yeah, that's all I can say. He's my favorite Virina. When you used Virina Arcs in the final episode of Will Dress, that was so hype, so amazing. I hope I can find a way to play Arcs in the crossover dress deck. We'll find out. But yeah. And then moving on to my last grade 2, I'm running 2 copies of OG Virina. OG Virina's still good. Most people are actually playing this card at 4 now, which is, I can understand why, because he's going to always be a 20k attacker when he swings, and then he has the ability to Soul Blast 2 and retire units, which is also great. The Soul Blast is really good because you can get rid of cards like Brainwash Swirler that are really annoying, and lots of Stoicheia cards. So it's nice to have a retire. It's our only retire option. I do see why people run 4, but right now I'm still just running the 2 because I want to play Expecta. But yeah, still an amazing card. Maybe I'll try playing 2 out later, or more than 2 out later. We'll see. But yeah, still awesome because you can search it out with Ryu too. So just a good card. And that's all the grade 2s I'm running. So we'll move on to the grade 1s. Next grade 1 I'm running is actually kind of controversial. I'm running 3 Amelia. What Amelia does is you can counterblast 1, move her to your soul, and superior ride a Nirvana from your hand if your opponent's at grade 3 or greater. So it lets you cheese out the grade 4 very fast, which is really cool. You're only going to be able to do this, I'd say like 50% of the time, because if you go first, you can't really use it. She's still really cool though, because she helps you kind of use your grade 4's skill twice, in a sense. And she does help build up soul for Esper Iridia and your OG Virina, which is also nice. I could see why players aren't really playing her all the time, because, some matches you can't really use her. So I understand, but right now it's just it's a fun little card that you can use. My next grade 1, I'm running 3 Retsuji. Retsuji is the one that lets us get our overdress units from our drop zone back to our hand with a counterblast. And if you're at grade 4, you countercharge, which is also really nice. This is normally how I get Esper Iridia back to my hand, so I can just keep using Esper Iridia over and over, getting all of that original dress back, which is nice. Retsuji is just an amazing card. I'm running 3 of my Twin Buckler PG. This is the one where if you have 1 or less cards, you don't have to discard, which is really nice. And the reason why I'm only running 3 is because we have our new order card that came out. So this is the order that's specific for the grade 4s. So if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, and remember guys, having triple drive and being able to do triple drive are 2 different things. This only works against grade 4s that have the triple drive marker. So if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, you don't have to discard for this one's cost. You can only run 1 copy of this in your deck. But there is a downside. I think it's... you can only use this if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. So if you're on your grade 4, you cannot use it as a perfect card, which is a downside. This is definitely a card more for premium. I don't see this card being a staple in everyone's deck forever until all the grade 4s are phased out. Then maybe, just in case, because like with the Nirvana Jiva deck, you'll only be using grade 3s for as of right now. But for grade 4 builds, you can't really use this card to its best ability. It shuts down grade 4s, but it looks like we're finally phasing out the grade 4s for newer cards. still a good card. Definitely wanting to run one in each of my decks. It's kind of hard to get right now because the trial decks are like expensive because this is one of the promos. But yeah, so just our one of, because we can only run one of it. That art is really cool though with all the Cray Elementals. And to finish off our normal units, we run 4 of our ace, our beloved little buddy, bubbly Trickstar. Trickstar is adorable. He's really become the new Blaster Blade, the new partner. Yeah, so 4 Trickstar. So that's all my normal units. I'll move on to my trigger units. I'm running 4 of the trial deck, or start deck critical trigger. And then I'm running 4 of the Burning Flail Dragon. Burning Flail is really good because, you know, the turn after it boosts, you move it to Soul. And you can give a unit 2k. Moving it to the Soul really helps for Esper Iridia, because we have to Soul Blast for Esper Iridia. So it makes up for it. It helps. You will be using it to guard most of the time, but if you need that Soul, that's what Burning Flail is for. I think all the triggers are getting reprints soon, so that's nice. My one of Overtrigger, Drag Veda. Restanding my Vanguard for wins is nice. Overtriggers are overtriggers. We have to deal with them, unfortunately, but yeah. Can have some fun moments with it. Although it seems like I get overtriggered more than I pull my overtrigger. For my heals, I'm running 2 of the crit and 2 of the restand heal. So it's really personal preference. It really just kind of depends on what your locals is like. Watch Different Fights video. At my locals, I fight against decks that can restand, like Bruce and Bastion. And then I also fight against decks that can get like extra criticals too. So that's why I run 2 and 2. It's really just depending on what your locals is like. And then to finish off my deck, I'm running 3 of the 10k draw triggers. And yeah, that is my deck, guys. I really like Nirvana, which is funny because, you know, for the entire time I've been playing Vanguard, I have always been the Gold Paladin, Royal Paladin guy, the Knight guy. So I love Bastion too, don't get me wrong. And Majesty Lord Blaster and Youthberg are all really great. But Nirvana is just, you know, I really like it. Call me a main character. But this was like the first Overdress deck I built because it was cheap, and I really fell in love with the whole Overdress mechanic and evolving, and Nirvana's just been a really great card. So I'm very excited to see the whole crossover dress deck. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been TheInfinityBreaker. That's not your name. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I am allowed to change my name twice. You just expect your fans to, you know, accept that? Well, you're just gonna have to accept it. My new name's TheInfinityBreaker. Thanks, guys. You can leave now. Sorry. Bye. I do have more videos planned on coming out, so I hope you guys stay tuned. If you want to drop a like or subscribe, that'd be awesome, because I really want to get back into Vanguard content. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Later.